Pleasure to meet you. And can I say thank you for your wonderful selection of tracks as well.
Thank you very much.
Arctic Monkeys 505. Tell us a little bit about that track.
I came to Arctic Monkeys a little bit late.
Yeah.
I think it's actually one of the songs that's the most un-Arctic Monkeys on that album. And also storytelling is something that obviously as an actor I find very sort of inspirational. And I think that Alex Turner as a lyricist is amazing, and I think 505 is kind of quite heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But the idea that this guy is constantly on tour and that they have this one hotel room that they always meet or that they don't tend to meet, and just the sort of the description about how the girl lies on the bed is quite visual. So yeah, that's one of my favourite songs.
It's really cinematic as well.
Very cinematic. Again, that sort of plucks at my heartstrings, isn't it?
And then you've got a track that's actually on a soundtrack, The Robins.
Yes, The Robins, Since I First Met You, is what, again, I found that through film, it's on the Pulp Fiction soundtrack, and it's not very apparent. Tarantino doesn't use it in a sort of very in-your-face way. I think it's in the background of when John Travolta and Uma Thurman have met for the first time. I think it's in the car maybe when he's tripping. Yeah, it's such a beautiful song. I kind of believe that I'm an old guy in heart. I've always believed that I was born in the wrong generation. And sort of doo-wop, that sort of like 50s sort of era is kind of, I just think it's beautiful song. And if you just listen to the lyrics, it's about someone believing that they could meet someone over and over again, and it's the first time they can't. So yeah. And
I picked for you Phoenix 1901 because they are a band that I associate with the kind of time that not just with this time, but the time that Versailles is set, because they did the soundtrack to Marie Antoinette, the Sofia Coppola film.
Which is, funny enough, most of the crew on Versailles are the same people that worked on the Marie Antoinette film.
Oh, wow.
So they have lots of stories about Sofia Coppola.
Oh, wow.
Mostly the stories are contained about the fact that I can't understand why they would wear Converse. That's mostly all the makeup people and all the stylists, and saying, like, it was a beautiful film, but then she just decided one day that she should just run around in pink Converse. And that's the stories that I get from the crew. I'm like, how was it like to work with Sofia Coppola? Yeah, it's a bit weird with the shoes, wasn't it? So I'm like,
nothing about her ability.
Nothing about her ability as a director.
Yeah.
Nothing about Kirsten Dunst at all. Just be like, a bit weird about the shoes, wasn't it? That whole thing. So.
Sure, Converse weren't invented in this time.
No, exactly. I think we're breaking a bit too many rules here. But anyway, yeah.
It is a wonderfully opulent and gorgeous period as well to be thrown into.
Yeah.
And congratulations on the first series of Versailles, because I mean I imagine it was hard work to be part of, because there is so much going on. There's a lot of characters. There's it's debauched, it's beautiful, it's tragic. There's so much. It's
weird because I took on the role being sort of they described Philippe as the 17th century David Bowie, and I thought, well, that's, how can I say no to something like this? And the first 2 episodes of season 1 have a very certain type of tone. We had a director that came back that had just directed Yves Saint Laurent, the feature film Jaleel.
Fantastic.
He was a guy that wanted to make it opulent. He wanted to shoot something very beautiful, very almost very commercial. But the show that I think that you now watched, and I think the show that I believe that Versailles is much darker in tone, much more tragic. There is the beauty and the sort of the scale of the show like Versailles, but actually I think the storylines are very dark. It's very political. People try and compare it to something like Game of Thrones, everything's the new Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But I think it's more akin to something like House of Cards.
I was just about to say that.
It's so much more political.
Just about to say that.
It's just more intrigue into it. There's much more layers. People are backstabbing each other.
The lies.
The lies and the treachery and about the nobles.
Murder.
Yeah, and the murder. There's always the murder. So I think that's the type of show that it is. But you're right. It's Philippe himself is such a difficult part to play, and I completely forgot how close Philippe was to me personally. So every day I would come on, and you spend 5 scenes a day, 6 days a week filming, and Philippe is the younger brother that constantly gets put down. He never wins. Even if he comes up with an amazing idea, or he goes to war and he wins, he never wins. He never gets the upper hand over his brother. That takes its toll on you as a person. I end up coming home with the day just thinking that I was sucked.
Yeah.
I just sit at home.
Nothing I can do.
I FaceTime my girlfriend back home in France, from France to London, and she's like, I don't know who I'm talking to right now. Am I talking to Alex or am I talking to Philippe? Because I'd just be like, well, I don't know if I'm going to eat. What's the point in eating? I'm just going to sit here, look at my lines, and just, I've got more scenes tomorrow where I'm going to lose again. But it just became this sort of thing, and it was a more of a I don't know, it was more more emotionally draining than I thought I'd ever sort of anticipated, really. But the payoff is the show, you know.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Getting that opportunity to play a character for, you know, we know that there's a second series.
Yes.
To play the character for that length of time is a wonderful opportunity as an actor, especially on a production like this, because, you know, that, like you say, the intricacies and the depth of the stories and the relationships between the characters is a wonderful thing to be able to do, to play that character and to, you know, express him and explore him.
Well, yeah, and it's also, we have to remember that this is real people that really existed, so you have a duty to tell the story about who these people are. I know, like, you know, I say this now, like, if Versailles goes for 12 seasons, say, I know that I'll probably play Philippe for that long, because in history, to be able to sort of invest in a character like Philippe, as dark as he is, as troubled as he is a joy for an actor. I'm only 27. You know, that idea that you get a part like this doesn't come around very often. I often compare the opportunity of Philippe to something like Doctor Who, in that sense that he is bipolar almost. He is almost quadrophenic in personality. He's a transvestite, as in he wears women's clothes. He's a fearsome warrior. He is a out homosexual in the court where it's a Catholic time where people should be beheaded. But he's the second wealthiest man in France, so that goes out the window. But also he has a wife. So there's this complexity within him as a character that is a gift on a page to play. So I'm just lucky that I'm the guy that gets to do it, really.
And how much, because, you know, based on real characters as well, does that make it harder or easier as an actor?
It's a good question, because they've cast 2 Brits as the leads. We don't have an association with Louis in that period of time. Like, all I remember in school in history was sort of Charles I, I guess, the Great Fire of London.
Yeah.
And that sort of small anecdote from the history. And there was this guy in France who had lots of women called Louis. And you're
good
like,
hair.
Oh, yeah, good hair, Louis, he was rich. And you're like, that was a sort of like the throwaway history lesson.
Yeah.
So the association that we have with the show is that I'm playing a character. But then because we film in France, we are surrounded by the French crew, French producers. They're the people that are very concerned. You know, Philippe wouldn't do that, right? You're like, it doesn't matter. You know, but there's a safety with that, I think, which is lucky, I guess.
What's it been like filming in France? Has it been fun?
It's been amazing. And also 2.5 hours on the Eurostar to get to London is a massive bonus. It doesn't feel like I'm filming in Prague, or, you know, there's lots of things filming in Hungary at the moment. That it's very close to home. Also, this year especially, we've just finished season 2. I was over there for all of the Euros for the football.
Being Welsh,
Welsh,
fantastic!
And I actually got to see a game.
Did you?
I got to see the one game where they lost, which is England versus Wales. So I was surrounded by loads of England fans in France with a Welsh top on, and I managed to convince the guy that plays Chevalier, Evan, who is a Canadian actor. Me and him went straight to the sort of the merchandise stand. And I bought him a Welsh t-shirt, so he was an honorary Welshman for the day. Gareth Bale scored, it was amazing, and then England scored 2, and then it was a terrible ride back from Lille. but just to be over there, the French know how to do tournaments. The French know how to do culture, I guess. And I think and I had this amazing apartment in Paris. Friends would come over and stay to break it up. I was very, very lucky. And also, you know, you've seen the locations in the sets.
Yeah.
They are all real.
I was going to ask.
So there's the interiors, which are studio, which they replicated. The sets are incredible, and they've replicated Versailles down to the millimetre. And then we have this very lucky sort of, we call it the compass of Paris, which is that the north, the south, the east and the west have all these amazing castles that were all built around just pre-Louis' time. So some of the gardens, some of the insides, and they are for us to use. So we get to go every other day. We get to go out, and you know, you have an hour ride outside of Paris, and you arrive, and it's another beautiful castle. But what happens is that you become numb to it. You know, season 2, you just turn up and you're like, yeah, okay, just another beautiful day, another beautiful castle. You know, and then people come out from the outside world. Like if you came to set, you'd be like, oh my God, do you realise how lucky you are? And then you'd be like, oh yeah, I am lucky, aren't I? I'm not filming in Dagenham or somewhere, you know. Nothing against Dagenham.
If you are just joining us on Virgin Radio, Alex Vlahos is with us we're talking Versailles, and we'll talk more after this. If you are just joining us on Virgin Radio, very good morning. We are having a lovely chat with Alex Vlahos, who plays Philippe in Versailles. You talked about that whole it's real characters and stuff, but there must be an element of creative license with the writers in terms of
Of course, it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
We're having to sort of push on the history, but also it's a drama. It's a TV show. We're having to sort of. It's quite hard for the writers. I don't envy them. That sort of juggling act.
Yeah.
Of having to keep both plates spinning at both times, which is to please the people that are tuning in for 1667. This is exactly what happened in that day, and then also please the people that have no idea about this show. They're treating Versailles as Game of Thrones, as House of Cards. That these people didn't exist. This is just a drama. There's an amazing actor called Pip Torrens who plays Cassel. Completely fiction. Cassel existed. The Duc de Cassel existed, but the Cassel that we've introduced in the show is a completely different one.
Yeah.
These are the people that can push on the drama, whereas then you have, I guess, the stalwarts, the sort of the constants, which are Louis and Philippe, and Henriette and Marie-Thérèse, which are the real people. So they're the people that sort of keep the history fans happy, I guess.
How's your French? Well, just the way that you say the names there. I mean, don't get Scottish people doing accents.
No,
it's terrible.
No, I am. So it's weird. So I got the job, realised that the crew would be French, and then I was like, okay. So I've kind of learnt French film speak.
Okay,
if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Could I go into a patisserie, a boulangerie, and ask for a baguette? No. All the makeup artists and the hair and people are saying, like, you must learn French. You must learn French, because George is fluent. So like, he completely puts me to shame. And I said, in that sort of boyish sort of thing, yeah, I'll learn if we get a season 2. Turns out we got a season 2 very quickly. Did I learn? Did I not? No. And then now I've gone, well, I'll learn for season 3. I'm just going to keep pushing it back as like a sort of golden lucky egg that, like, if I just keep saying I'll learn and never do, I'll just keep getting employed.
Yeah, or just get them to learn Welsh.
Exactly.
There you go.
Just get them to learn Welsh, which would be no benefit to anyone apart from me.
This takes up you've just finished filming 6 months.
6 months
for series 2 and stuff. It's a big, it's half the year for you and stuff. What do you do with the other 6 months?
Well, I am about to go on holiday, which is again, it's kind of a work holiday. I'm going to LA because my manager over there has been dying for me to come out. And when you do 6 months of a television show, you're unattainable. You can't be used. You can't do anything for auditions and stuff like that. So I'm going over there to sort of please him. And then my plan, the plan is always a plan, but it's an ambition to. I miss doing theatre, man.
Yeah,
really do. I've got a big window of time before my next project, so the plan is to try and get on theatre, and try and get back on the London stage, because you can tell me how I'm talking to you now. It's where I get really passionate about it, because it's like
totally.
Treading on the boards is where you constantly learn, and you always need to be learning as an actor.
Brilliant. Well, listen, please come back and pick some more music and chat to us when
I'll come back when my belly's a bit
go
more
and have
full.
some breakfast and come back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Listen, absolute pleasure to meet you, and congratulations on series 1. I really look forward to season. Do we know when we're going to get to see it yet?
I don't know. So we've only just wrapped, so it'll come out, I guess, next year, sometime in 2017. Yeah.
Well, series 1 of Versailles is out on DVD now. An absolute pleasure to meet you, Alex. Thank you so much. Cheers, mate. Cheers.